When you finally walk away from someone who always tried to control you, it feels like a storm has passed. At first, it's confusing, you expect them to change, or maybe you even feel guilty for leaving. But deep inside, you start to notice the silence feels lighter. This person, who once drained your energy, doesn't have that power anymore. Not because you fought harder, not because you explained yourself better, but simply because you stopped playing their game. That's the moment the tables turn. Hello, beautiful souls, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today. If this is your first time, please subscribe and join us on this journey. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I read them all, and sometimes your story is exactly what someone else needs to hear to feel strong. I'll share something personal with you. There was a time in my life when I felt trapped. I thought I had to keep proving myself, keep explaining, keep begging for respect. But one day, I decided to just stop. I stopped arguing. I stopped trying to fix what was never mine to fix. And do you know what happened? I felt free. It was like hearing my own voice for the first time in years. I realized the narcissist never had power, only the power I gave away. The moment I stopped feeding their ego, their control started to fade. When you stop feeding their need for control, something powerful begins to happen, not just around you, but inside you. At first, you may feel the emptiness they left behind, almost like silence in a room where there used to be constant noise. But slowly, that silence becomes peace. You start noticing things you had forgotten about yourself. Your laughter comes back. Your energy feels lighter. And people around you might even say, "You look different, you feel different." That's because healing has its own glow, and no one can fake it. I remember after walking away, I would sit alone sometimes and feel a mix of fear and freedom. The fear came from the unknown, what will happen to me now? But the freedom whispered something else, you survived. You're stronger than you know. If you've ever felt this, you're not alone. And I'd love for you to share your own story in the comments, because it might just remind someone else that healing is possible. Also, don't forget to subscribe, because together we are building a space where strength and light are celebrated. Here's the truth, narcissists don't actually lose when you leave, they lose the illusion of control. And that's why they panic, that's why they try to come back, that's why they spread lies. But you already won. Not because you hurt them back, but because you healed. After the narcissist loses their grip, you begin to see something extraordinary, the world feels different. It's not that everything suddenly becomes easy, healing is never a straight road, but there is a shift. Opportunities that once seemed blocked suddenly open. People who genuinely care start entering your life. Even your body begins to respond, you sleep better, you breathe easier, you walk lighter. That's because the constant weight of manipulation, fear, and confusion has been lifted. I remember walking outside one morning after leaving behind a toxic situation. The sky looked the same, the street was the same, but I felt different. It was like I was seeing everything with new eyes. That's the gift of healing, you rediscover the beauty of life that you had stopped noticing. But here's something important, the narcissist doesn't disappear. They often try to come back, not because they love you, but because they lost the control they thought they owned. That's why your silence is so powerful. Silence isn't weakness, it's strength, it's boundary, it's healing. And if you're nodding along right now, take a moment to subscribe and share your experience in the comments. Because your story might give someone else the courage to finally walk away and step into their own power. The tables turn not because you fight them with anger, but because you choose peace. And in choosing peace, you're showing the universe that you're ready for something better, something real. When you finally stand firm and move forward, life begins to mirror that courage back to you. It's almost like the universe whispers, I saw what you endured, and now watch what I'll do for you. You start noticing little victories. The job opportunity you once thought was out of reach suddenly appears. A friendship that truly nourishes your soul finds its way to you. Even money, peace, and clarity begin flowing in ways they never did before. That's not a coincidence, it's spiritual justice. I'll share something personal here. After breaking free from someone who drained me emotionally, I remember months later being offered a chance to step into something I had always wanted but never thought I was ready for. It was as if the moment I closed the door on the wrong person, life unlocked the right one. And here's the deeper truth, the narcissist feels this shift too. Not directly, but in the sense that they realize they no longer have the effect they once had on you. Their words don't sting, their silence doesn't scare you, their presence doesn't shake you. That's the moment they know they lost the power. And right here, I want to pause and ask you, have you experienced this kind of shift after walking away from someone toxic? If yes, write I felt it in the comments, so we can build a community where stories of freedom become medicine for others still struggling. Because here's the thing, healing is not about revenge. It's not about making them pay. It's about living in such peace and freedom that their absence becomes irrelevant. And that, my dear, is the greatest victory you could ever have. Here's the irony of it all. While you are healing, glowing, and stepping into new blessings, the narcissist is quietly dealing with the collapse of their false power. You see, their sense of control was never about love, it was about dominance. And when that dominance no longer works, it shakes their entire identity. They start realizing that they can't just say a few cruel words and watch you crumble. They can't use silence as a weapon because your peace is louder than their noise. They can't manipulate you with guilt because you've learned to choose freedom over chains. And this eats away at them. They may pretend they don't care, but deep down they know they lost access to something rare, something sacred. They didn't just lose a person, they lost someone whose light they could never dim. I'll share from my own journey. There was a time when someone tried to use shame to make me question my worth. They thought I'd run back seeking validation. But instead, I stayed still, I stayed silent, and I healed. Months later, I learned they were the one feeling lost, stuck, and searching for the very energy I had reclaimed. That's the thing, narcissists depend on you more than you ever depended on them. And I want to pause here again and say, if this message is connecting with you, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also share your story in the comments. Because your experience might just be the light someone else needs to walk away from their own struggle. So, what happens to you after all this? You rise. You rise in ways you never imagined. Your confidence starts to rebuild, not in a loud, boastful way, but in a quiet, unshakable way. Your relationships become healthier because you no longer tolerate manipulation. Your energy becomes lighter because you're not carrying someone else's darkness anymore. And here's something powerful to remember, healing from a narcissist doesn't just set you free, it sets a new standard in your life. You begin to see your worth in such a deep way that anyone who tries to treat you less than that doesn't even get a chance to stay. That's the real victory. Now, here's the bonus tip I promised. When you've walked away and healed, don't spend your energy wondering what the narcissist is doing, or whether they're suffering without you. That keeps you tied to their energy. Instead, shift all that focus inward into your growth, your passions, your joy. The greatest way to win is not to watch them fall, but to rise so high they can't even reach the level you're vibrating at. And now, as we come to the end, let me say this, your story matters. Your healing matters. And no matter how broken you once felt, you are proof that light is stronger than manipulation, that love is stronger than control, and that freedom is worth every step. So if this video spoke to your heart, please subscribe, because we're building a space where survivors become thrivers. And share your experience in the comments. Your words might be the lifeline for someone who needs it today. And always remember this: you didn't just walk away. You transformed. You didn't just survive. You rose. I'll see you in the next video, beautiful soul. Until then, take care of your energy, take care of your heart, and keep shining. The truth is, you don't have to win against a narcissist by fighting them. You win by healing. You win by thriving. You win by living a life so abundant, peaceful, and free that their absence becomes nothing more than silence in the background.